You know why there's really no question marks at the end of movie titles? Because they're usually bound to fail. For Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there should be like a big old question mark, but there isn't. But then lo and behold, for this movie starring Leah Thompson, Victoria Jackson, and Casual Rex. Who says Rex isn't a laughing matter? Certainly not the ready for anything Stacy, Leah Thompson, or somewhat repressed friend Melissa, Victoria Jackson. Determined to develop a meaningful relationship with a man who's not afraid to make a commitment, the girls take a vacation at a plush health resort. With high hopes, Stacy and Melissa embark on their quest to track down the perfect man. But unfortunately, the man they encounter seem to wilt at the thought of anything more than casual sex. The result is a hilariously perceptive comedy that offers a lighter look at what happens in the dark. And directed by what is her name? Genevieve Robert. This is a funny movie. It's a casual, fun time where it's like, okay, it goes into it takes a funny look at more than just like a one night stand of these women that are living. They're not yuppies, which I'm grateful for, but you know, at the same time, one are they in their mid 20s? I think they were. So it's we get it more from the female perspective of more than just wanting to have a hookup. It's like we're getting it, we're getting a sense of what it's like for hey, you're out of the college years and you're trying to get your life established. You know, they have apartments and things like that, but they're looking for a person to have a commitment with. And what we get is a fun time, but at the same time a kind of questioning of not exactly like if they're going to engage in it, is it going to be um, romantic? Is it going to make them? One of the things that is brought up is saying, hey, do do we feel? It's like I had this for the first time in a while. It made me feel human again. And I think when one of Melissa, I believe, team gets together with like this 1980s style singer a la, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen. You know, at first he seems like the macho, he seems like a hunk, but then he realizes that, he's living the single life. Not necessarily a slob, but he doesn't have his life together, I guess would be the way to describe it, at least by 1980 standards. So he's, which thinking, hey, let's, like, he's trying to, so I guess he gets his own growth towards the end, which I'm not going to get into yet, but we get some decent characters. It's like saying, we get this guy named Matthew. He uses sentences and phrases that a lexicographer would use when, one's word to the dictionary. It's like, I can't exactly say it, but 67% of women are more neurologically stimulated during foreplay more than the climax, which I found to be kind of funny. So to see him switch between um, like his day job being a lexicographer, and then what happens when you're hanging with the guys or whatever. I found that to be funny. Yeah. Then we get some person who's like the trainer or whatever. I forget Jamie. It's like he seems to be one who's mostly has his life together. Say, hey, I get paid to stay in shape. When he's working at this Oasis resort, which it's like they're genuinely good people. It's just a different aspect of they're still kind of like getting life figured out. So at the same time, how the sex is being mentioned here, of like it's not. I think maybe there's a slight sense of like I don't want to say anti-sex or anything like that, but I guess it's just like the next step of what it is. And it's also one of the first movies to acknowledge that the AIDS epidemic was happening, which I found to be like, okay, so it's actually handling it in a mature, tasteful manner. I like that. I liked how it wasn't like reefer madness levels of hilarity of saying that marijuana is the devil's lettuce or grass or whatever. This is just saying like, hey, it exists and it needs to be acknowledged, and like, what are we going to do? Let's just handle it with tact and grace and just make it feel like it's something that needs to be mentioned. Yeah, I know I keep on yawning, and I'm just like, well, I'm tired, and it's 12:30 or whatever. I'm also watching The Holy Mountain that's going to be next, so that one I need to pay attention to while awake. But yeah, with this movie, it's like, yeah, you can tell looking at the front picture here. Now they do look, it looks a little desaturated. And it's like they're thinking, um, like she's the repressed one. She's just, they're trying to figure things out. Yeah, this was originally a Groundlings play. Like an improv group, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and it's based off of a book. I think I'm trying to remember what year that was released. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. So we've got an adaptation of an adaptation, which I found to be funny. As I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, so it's 1975 play, and now we're getting into a 1980s movie. I'm like, you know, obviously with improv and satires, like taking the issues that's going on, but put in a way that is funny, but also kind of forces you to look at what's going on here. Yeah, you get a soundtrack of Jingle Bell Rock. You get this kind of mellow, soft rock sound, which I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I like it. Which adds to the more fun atmosphere. Yes, this is something that you have seen plenty of times before. Some people may be like, so we have another 1980s comedy going on like this. And I'm like, well, yeah, but there's a lot of effort, and it's made with heart. It's like this movie is still fun. I mean, yeah, it's an R because of the subject matter and a little language, but at the same time, don't let it deter you. It's like one of those, it's got like a 34% on the Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like I said, your mileage is going to vary with this one, but because it offers the feminist perspective on it. I mean, yeah, it's like we get what I think Stacy, who goes back to L.A. because she's living with Nick, realizes like saying, "Oh yeah, this isn't going good." So we get some back and forth going on. You can believe their banter because of how they handle the subject, even like when they're on stage referencing, like integrating the play that was going on, which I felt like that was a pretty cool twist. Not a twist, but inserting the motif. So yeah, that was a little odd, but you know, overall, I'd say yeah. Despite everything, like saying, hey, it's a little weird, and I would have liked to see this expanded maybe just a little more, but whatever. I would definitely say go ahead and watch Casual Sex with a question mark.